Myself Sudha, working as an assistant professor in Department of ECE in Co-Engineering College. So today we are going to see about what is the difference between generative AI, agent and agentic AI. Okay. Before looking into that, first we see about what is meant by AI. AI is nothing but artificial intelligence, which means we are making a machine to think like a human. So artificially we are making a machine to think like a human, that is called as artificial intelligence. So under this artificial intelligence, first we are going to see about Gen AI. So our goal is to learn what is Gen AI and what is meant by AI agent and what is agentic AI. So what is the difference between these three terminologies? So before entering into that, we all know about ChatGPT. So ChatGPT, it is an API which generates new text based on the query we ask. So if we are asking any questions, it will be generating a new information. The information will be either in the form of text, image, audio, video or whatever may be. So that is what the ChatGPT is. Okay. So this generative AI, ChatGPT is one such generative AI, and the heart of this generative AI is LLM. LLM is nothing but large language model. So what is this large language model? This is nothing but, this is a program which is designed to learn the pattern from the existing data. So if we have an existing data, so from this data, this particular program is trained to learn the pattern between these data. That is what we call it as large language model. So whatever we are speaking like GPT-4, Gemini, Llama, all these come under this particular umbrella LLM, large language model. So how this large language model works? Let's see with an example. LLMs. So if I ask this LLM a question, the question is nothing but, can you check for the flight from California to Mumbai? What will be the price of the fare, or what will be the fare of the ticket for tomorrow? This is the question which I am asking. So the question is flight fare from California to Mumbai. So this is the question which I am asking the LLM. So the question is, can you check me the fare of the flight from California to Mumbai for tomorrow? If this is what the question asked to this particular LLM, and this LLM has knowledge cutoff, that is, it learns from the existing data, which means that it can say what will be the price of the ticket yesterday, day before yesterday, but it was not able to predict what will be the price tomorrow. So that we call it as a knowledge cutoff. So this LLM is having a knowledge cutoff where it has a limitation whether we cannot predict what will be the price of the future. So to make this to predict the future price, what I am going to do is I am going to add some API along with this LLMs so that it can check for the flight ticket price of future. That API, this LLM use this API. This API may be flight booking API. We have make a trip API. So all these API are called as flight booking API. So this LLMs check with this particular API. It checks for what will be the price of the flight for tomorrow. So if I am asking now, can you please check for the best, cheapest ticket fare from California to Mumbai? In that case, it goes to this particular API. It checks for the price. What are the different flights available from California to Mumbai? And it will check for the prices of each and every vendor and it will give the best price for the flight booking. For example, it can say that it costs around $1,600 for economy class and it costs around $3,400 for business class. So these are the options it will be lending us. So now along with this LLM, we are adding some more tool that we call it as an API. Here it is a flight booking API. This API will check for the flight fare and it will give us the recommendation saying that for the economy class it was 6,600 and for business class it is 3,400. So along with LLM, if we are adding some more tools to perform some action, then it comes under the topic of AI agent. So that is the difference. So Gen AI was able to, it has some knowledge cutoff, so it was not able to perform certain actions. But this particular AI agent, it was able to perform actions with the help of some tools. That is the difference between the Gen AI and AI agent. But what happens here is, it can perform only the task which involves a very few steps. If we want to perform certain tasks which involves multi-step processing, then that comes under the heading of agentic AI. So next we are going to see about agentic AI. So previously our LLM was able to use the tool called flight booking API to book the ticket from California to Mumbai. That is what happening, but it was a simple task which involves only few steps. Okay. Now what is meant by agentic AI? So agentic AI is nothing but it involves more number of APIs to perform the task, which we can simply say that it is a multi-step processing API that performs action for completing the task. So here for example, my constraint is I want to book a flight ticket from California to Mumbai. The constraints are I have to book the ticket in the month of May for 7 days and all the 7 days should be sunny. That is the first constraint. Then the ticket fare should be less than $1,600. So these are the constraints which I am giving for this particular LLMs to perform the task. So first this LLM will use weather API. So what is the need of weather API? Weather API has to find the 7 days in the month of May, which is all 7 days should be sunny, for which this LLM will be using this weather API. That is the first task. So first task is nothing but check for the weather in the month of May where all the 7 consecutive days should be sunny. So for which it is using the first weather API. Fine. So next, after identifying the 7 consecutive sunny days in the month of May, then it has to check for the flight, availability of flight from California to Mumbai for those 7 days. So it checks for the availability of flight. Once it has listed out the available flights, then it has to use this flight booking API to check for which one has the cheapest fare among all the available flights. That is the next task. So it will be checking for available flight, then it checks for cheapest fare among the available flights. Because the constraint given is the fare should be less than $1,600. That was the constraint we are giving for this particular LLM. So it will find the flight which is less than $1,600 and then it will book the ticket. So this is the action which is it performing. This action is independent. Autonomously, this particular LLM is performing certain action that involves multi-step processing. This kind of API, this kind of LLM, we call it as an agentic AI. Fine. So apart from these tasks which we have given, this will go ahead and it will recommend what are the hotels available in the Mumbai, what are the taxis, how to approach this. All these recommendations will be given along with this following task. So we have learned about Gen AI, AI agent and agentic AI. So what is Gen AI? Gen AI, the heart of this Gen AI is nothing but LLM. So what it does, it will try to identify the pattern depending upon the existing data. That is what our Gen AI does. So the working of Gen AI is nothing but it will identify the pattern with the help of existing data. That is what Gen AI does. Next is AI agent. So AI agent is a program which is able to perform certain actions based on the data. If you are able to perform the action, that we call it as AI agent. But AI agent will perform tasks with only few steps. If we want to perform n number of steps or multi-step processing with more number of APIs, then we go for agentic AI. Agentic AI, like AI agent, it will perform actions based on the data, but it will perform n number of actions. It will do n number of recommendations based on the data. So this is what the difference between Gen AI agent and agentic AI. Hope you will be clear with this concept. Thank you.